What's up, YouTube? Conzilla here. This is day 29 of my 31 Days of Horror, where I am reviewing a different horror movie for every day of the month of October. Tonight's film was the 1922 silent German film Nosferatu, Symphony of Horrors. This was directed by F.W. Murnau and stars Max Shreck in the title role of Nosferatu. This is obviously a really famous and sort of iconic horror film. Like I said, this is from the 20s, so nearly 100 years old now. This is one of the first adaptations of Dracula, although it was an unauthorized adaptation. Most people probably know that. Bram Stoker's widow actually denied the rights to the story to the filmmakers, and so they tried to change some minor details to it to get past, but they were ultimately sued for copyright infringement, and all copies of the film were ordered to be destroyed. Thankfully, there were already prints that had been shipped around the world and whatnot, so the film did survive, becoming one of the first cult films. And this is obviously a really great classic piece of horror. It's kind of like the Citizen Kane of horror movies. A really great sort of German expressionist film, and again one of the first really horror films ever made. So definitely an impressive piece of cinema here. It is a bit I guess challenging of a watch for certain people, considering that it's a silent film. It's black and white. The picture quality is obviously going to be quite a bit lower than what we're used to. Very, very old, grainy old film here. The story here, I won't go into too much detail because most people pretty much know the story of Dracula by now, and that's basically what this is. But the film, let's see, I believe the characters are Mina and Hutter in this. The version I was watching just used the Dracula names. So they refer to, him as Harker all throughout the film. But basically he gets this offer from Renfield, who's basically already under Dracula's control. Crazy dude. And Dracula wants to buy a house in Bremen, I believe is where this film takes place. And so they send Hutter out to through the Carpathian Mountains to Transylvania to bring a realty contract to Count Orlok, who is basically Dracula. And so then obviously once he's there, he gets bitten by the vampire. He's under his spell. He's trapped. And Orlok, packs up his coffins of the unhallowed earth that he was buried in, and a bunch of rats, and gets aboard a ship and sails for Bremen. And once he gets there, he unleashes the plague upon the town, and Hutter's wife, Mina, has to kind of seduce the vampire, get him to suck her blood freely so that he will forget, lose track of time, and the sun will come up, the cock will crow, as it says in the film, and the vampire will be vanquished, which is what happens, of course. So pretty much everybody already knows that story, I'm sure. But yeah, this is a film that I really enjoy. I've seen it a number of times. I try to watch it every couple of years, especially around Halloween. I always get in the mood to give this another view. It's still just such an impressive piece of horror cinema. I think visually this film manages to achieve something that not a lot of horror movies do. It doesn't really matter how old this movie gets, it still has a really strong presentation to it, and the visuals here are just really well done and scary, and it looks pretty real. I think Max Shreck, the actor who portrayed Count Orlok, did a really amazing job here. There's kind of almost an urban legend attached to this film. The idea that the vampire in the film is a true vampire, and this is almost like a documentary. the director Elias Mirage, or Mirage maybe, explores that in his film Shadow of the Vampire, which stars Willem Dafoe as Count Orlok, and he plays him as if he were truly a vampire. And there's a reason that that movie exists and that people say things like that. He is very convincing in his portrayal of the titular vampire in this film. So definitely a really stand-up performance. And I think, I'm not sure of the actor's name, but whoever it was that played Renfield in this film does a really, really good job as well. Really good acting there. He does a great job portraying a super crazy dude. Watching it, it seems like it's probably a younger actor playing with a lot of like, the fake eyebrows and the wig and bald cap and all that to make him look a bit older. But he does a really remarkable job playing just a totally nutters person. Yeah, I don't know, something about this film for me, the age of it and the visuals in it, just like, and the fact that it's silent, it has sort of this built-in alien feeling to it almost. It's a bygone era, sort of the almost film noir sort of quality to the way this film looks. Like I said, there's really excellent visuals throughout this film. Count Orlok's makeup that they did for him looks really great. He's a really distinctive vampire with a completely bald head, sort of rat-like fangs right up in the front, the pointy ears, the big eyebrows, and just sort of his stature, the way that Max Shreck portrays him. He's like super tall and just like slender. And the wardrobe choices that they used were really fitting. It's not at all typical Dracula or vampire sort of look. They definitely established a really unique look for the vampire here that has sort of lived on. It's aged really well. There's some really, really nice shadow work in this film. Obviously, some of the more famous scenes, like the shadow of the vampire ascending the stairs as he's going to attack Mina. There's a shadow of him like reaching out, and it's just super, really well done shadow footage. It's super creepy. It really fits the visual sort of motifs throughout this film, and it's pretty impressive to see. There's another shot where he his hand sort of slowly moves up and he grasps her heart as if he's stealing her soul or something like that. Really effective. Again, just use of the camera. Special effects were still very primitive, obviously, in 1922, and obviously the camera itself, I'm sure this was a crank camera, so they were working with pretty primitive materials and tools. So yeah, Murnau obviously really knew what he was doing behind the camera. We get some interesting sort of stop motion sequences, like when Nosferatu is coming out of the hold of the ship. They have it open with stop motion. There's some doors that open with stop motion. And a really great scene in the hold where Nosferatu comes up out of his coffin and he just sort of lifts straight out, and it looks so convincing, and you just kind of have to wonder how they managed to pull that scene off. I don't know if they used wires or if he's on a board or what. It's pretty awesome stuff there. Like I said, all the visuals throughout the film just really stand the test of time. Definitely a solid, iconic sort of vampire performance from Shreck. This is, I think, a really interesting film. If you're into horror, if you're into film, this is definitely one that you should see. It's definitely earned all of the notoriety that sort of accompanies it, and it's truly an iconic piece of horror cinema. If you've seen this film before, definitely go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think about it. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and leave a like. If you want to see more content like this in the future, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. We've still got 2 films left to round out the end of October here. It's been quite a ride so far, and so you definitely won't want to miss out the last 2 films that we'll be watching this year. Alright guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you next time.